For the founders in the space with style and grace, I'm Brittany Antoinette, host of the Not So CEO talk show and founder of The Idea Girl. From work and wellness to bootstrapping and burnout, we cover all bases on building a brand, whether you're a seasoned vet or you're just getting started. Through guest interviews, water cooler combos, and office hours, we're paving way for a new era of Not So CEOs. So grab a notepad and tune in for unfiltered banter on branding, business, and bullshit. Is your brand feeling a bit stale as of lately? Well, if things aren't hitting like it used to, or your audience seems to be drifting away, it might be time to consider a brand refresh. In this segment of Office Hours, we're diving deep into the red flags that indicate your brand could use a revamp. Whether it's a dip in engagement, inconsistent messaging, or a loss of connection with your target market, I'll walk you through the key factors that signal it's time for a change. Tune in as we explore how to recognize when your brand is no longer resonating, the steps you can take to breathe new life into it, and the common pitfalls to be aware of. Whether your brand needs a minor tweak or a complete makeover, step into my office so I can help you figure out your next best move. Hi, friends. Welcome back to another episode of the Not So CEO Talk Show. I know it's been a little minute since I've last done a solo episode. Today, we're tackling a question that keeps many business owners up late at night. Is it time to hit the refresh button on my brand? Have you ever felt like your brand just isn't connecting and it's just not hitting the mark anymore? Like you're shouting into the void of social media, but crickets are your only followers. Maybe you're noticing some subtle or not so subtle signs that something isn't quite right. Well, today we're diving into those signs that indicate it might be time for a refresh or a complete brand overhaul. And stay tuned because later in the episode, I'll tell you how you can join my upcoming brand audit workshop where we'll dig deep into these very topics and help you figure out if it's time to rebrand. Before we jump into the nitty gritty, let's break down what we mean by brand resonance. Think of it like this. Your brand is the life of the party, and brand resonance is when everyone wants to hang out with it. It's not just about people knowing your name, it's about them feeling a connection, wanting to be a part of your tribe. We're talking about more than just recognition. It's about your audience feeling something when they interact with your brand, whether that's trust, excitement, or even inspiration. But here's the kicker. The party scene is always changing, and what was cool last season might be totally cliche now. That's why staying relevant is crucial. It's not just about keeping the lights on, it's about keeping the party going and the guest list growing. Staying relevant and aligned with your target audience's needs and expectations is significant in today's fast paced market. As times change, so do consumer preferences, and what worked 5 years ago might not work today. This is why constantly checking in on your brand's resonance is so important. Take companies like Apple, Nike, or Starbucks. These brands aren't just selling gadgets, sneakers, or overpriced coffee. They're selling a lifestyle, an identity. And that right there is brand resonance in action, friends. So now let's get into the core of today's discussion and the red flags that scream, Houston, we have a branding problem. Number one, sales are taking a nosedive. This is often the most obvious sign, but it's important to look at it in context. If your sales are consistently dropping without a clear external cause like economic downturns or seasonal fluctuations, it's a red flag. You want to look for patterns. Is a specific product line tanking? Are you losing longtime customers? I mean, we've all had a bad quarter, but if your sales graph looks like a ski slope and it's not just a blip, it's time to worry. These could be signs your brand's lost its spark or indicate that your brand no longer appeals to your target market. Number two, your engagements declining on social media. At this point, your social media is a ghost town. And in the age of TikTok and Instagram, social media is a key indicator of brand health. It's not just about follower count. You want to look at meaningful engagement metrics. Are your saves, shares, and comments dwindling? Is your content being shared less frequently? Are fewer people clicking through to your website from social posts? If your posts are getting more tumbleweeds than likes, if sharing your content is as rare as a unicorn sighting, you might be losing your audience faster than you can say algorithm change. Three, decrease in website traffic or high bounce rates. At this point, your website's bouncing visitors faster than a trampoline. And if people are running away faster than they came in, something's off. High bounce rates are like people walking into your store and immediately walking out. It's when visitors leave quickly after arriving. Not a good look, right? Your website is often the first point of contact for potential customers. A steady decline in visitors can mean that your brand is becoming less discoverable or less interesting to your target audience. Suggest a disconnect between what people expect from your brand and what they find on your site, and use tools like Google Analytics to track your traffic. Number four, your messaging's all over the place. Consistency is key. And if your Instagram's saying one thing, your website saying another, your in-store experience is giving what the fuck, you're confusing the hell out of your audience. Your brand should speak with one voice, whether it's on your website, social media, in store, or in advertising. Audit your brand communications across all channels. Are you using different tones, visual styles, or even conflicting messages? Because this inconsistency can confuse and alienate your audience, making it hard for them to form a clear image of who you are and what you stand for. Number five, your target audience is MIA. If you're aiming for Gen Z but attracting their grandparents, and I mean, no offense, grandma, your brand might be having an identity crisis. It's like showing up to a bashment in a tuxedo. You're just not speaking the right language. If you're struggling to connect with the audience you're aiming for, it might be time to reassess your brand positioning. Look at your customer data. Has your core demographic changed over time? Are you attracting the customers you want? If not, your brand might not be resonating with your intended audience. This could be due to outdated messaging, visuals that don't appeal to your target group, or a misalignment between your brand values and those of your desired customers. Number six, lack of emotional connection with your audience. Your brand's about as exciting as watching paint dry. Brands that stick are the ones that make people feel something. If your brand were a person, would anyone want to hang out with it? If the answer is no, it's time for a personality injection. Brands that resonate don't just sell products, they create feelings and experiences. How do your customers talk about your brand? Do they show brand loyalty? Do they recommend you to others? If your audience isn't emotionally invested in your brand, if they view your products as mere commodities rather than meaningful purchases, you're missing a crucial element of brand resonance. Number seven, customers are confused about your offerings. If your elevator pitch sounds like a riddle, and if explaining what you do takes longer than an elevator ride to the 50th floor, you've got a problem. A 5-year-old should be able to understand and explain your brand. And if not, it's time to simplify. If people don't understand what you're selling or why it's unique, you're not communicating your value proposition effectively. If you're getting a lot of questions about what exactly you do, or if customers can't articulate your unique selling point, or we call it USP, it's a sign that your brand messaging needs work. Conduct customer surveys or social listening to gauge how well your audience understands your offering. Number 8, negative feedback or lack of feedback. Silence isn't always golden. And if you're not getting any feedback, it could mean your brand isn't making enough of an impact to elicit a response. But on the flip side, if the feedback you're getting is predominantly negative, it's a clear sign that something's off. Pay attention to customer reviews, social media comments, and direct feedback. Look for patterns in the criticism because they can guide your rebranding efforts. Or worse, no feedback is bad feedback. Number 9, confusion about your brand's purpose. If your brand's purpose is as clear as mud, and if your team can't rally behind your purpose, how do you expect customers to? Your brand should have a clear mission and values. If your audience or even your employees can't articulate what you stand for, it's time to clarify your brand's purpose. Ask yourself, what's your brand's why? If your why doesn't make you cry, your business will not survive. Why does your company exist beyond making money? If these answers aren't clear and compelling enough, you might need to redefine your brand purpose. Number 10, shifts in market trends or consumer preferences. If you're not keeping up with trends, hello, sustainability, you're falling behind. It's like showing up to a smartphone convention with a flip phone. The market is always evolving. Stay attuned to industry reports, consumer behavior studies, and emerging trends. Are there new technologies, values, or lifestyle changes affecting your industry? If your brand isn't keeping up with these changes, it risks becoming irrelevant. For example, if sustainability has become a key concern in your industry, but your brand's still perceived as environmentally unfriendly, it's time for a change. Number 11, outdated visual identity. First impressions matter, and in branding, that often comes down to visuals. Take a hard look at your logo, color palette, typography, and overall design. Do they feel current and aligned with your brand values? If your visual identity feels stuck in the past, it could be turning away potential customers away before they even engage with your brand. An outdated look can make people assume your products or services are stuck in the Flintstone age too. Number 12, inconsistent branding across platforms. Your brand's got multiple personality disorder. Your brand should be instantly recognizable, whether someone's looking at your Instagram, your website, or your product packaging. Audit your brand's presence across all touch points. Are you using different logos, colors, or messaging styles in different places? This inconsistency can confuse customers and dilute your brand strength. A strong brand is cohesive across all platforms, creating a seamless experience for your customer. Lastly, number 13, internal changes in the company. If your company's gone through more changes than a teenager, major changes like mergers, new leadership, or shifts in company direction often necessitate a rebrand to reflect the new identity. If your company has undergone significant internal changes, ask yourself, does our current brand accurately reflect who we are and where we're going? A rebrand can help align your external image with your new internal reality, signaling to customers and employees alike that you're evolving. Now, let's look at some brands that nailed the rebrand game. If you're old enough, do you remember when Old Spice was your grandpa's aftershave? Well, they flipped the script with their hilarious over the top campaigns, and boom, sales shot up 107% in just 1 month. Or take Airbnb. They went from quirky startup to global hospitality giant with a rebrand that was all about belonging. The results? They went public in 2020, valued at $47 billion. Not too bad for a company that started out by renting air mattresses. The takeaway, a well executed rebrand can breathe life into your business, helping you connect with new audiences and revitalize your relationship with existing customers. If you've recognized some of these signs in your own brand, you may be wondering, what now? Well, here's a quick guide on how to approach a rebrand. Number one, take inventory. Start by taking a detailed inventory of your brand assets. This includes everything from your logo, color palette, your fonts, to your website, social media presence, and marketing materials. Understanding what you currently have and what is still effective or in need of an update is crucial. This step can help you see the full scope of what will be impacted by a rebrand. Number two, analyze your data. Conduct a thorough analysis to assess your brand's current performance. Look at everything from customer feedback, sales data, and website analytics to social media engagement. This audit will help you understand where your brand currently stands in the market, what's working, and what isn't. It's like giving your brand a full health checkup at the doctor. Number three, start with research. Dig deep into understanding your current brand perception and where you want to go. Research your target audience, competitors, and industry trends. This will provide you with insights into what your customers are looking for and how you can differentiate yourself from the competition. Number four, define your brand strategy. Once you have a clear picture of your brand's current state, it's time to redefine your brand strategy. What do you want your brand to represent? What are your core values, mission, and vision? How do you want your customers to perceive you? Your brand strategy should be the North Star that guides all your rebranding efforts. Number five, based on your strategy, develop your new brand identity. This includes visual elements like your logo, color scheme, and typography suite, as well as your messaging and tone of voice. Make sure these elements align with your new brand strategy and resonate with your target audience. Number six, plan the rollouts. A rebrand isn't just about a new logo, it's about how you introduce this change to the world. Plan a strategic rollout that communicates your new brand effectively across all channels. This might include updating your website, social media profiles, marketing materials, and internal documents. And make sure your team is aligned and prepared to live the new brand. Number seven, implement and iterate. Launch your new brand and be prepared to make adjustments based on feedback. Monitor the reception and performance of your rebrand closely. Listen to what your customers and team are saying and be ready to iterate and refine your brand as needed. A rebrand is a journey, not a one-time event. Now that we went over red flags and approaches, let's go over common pitfalls to be aware of. Number one, don't rebrand just for the sake of change. Rebranding is a significant decision that should not be taken lightly. It requires substantial resources like money, time, and effort. Before deciding to rebrand, ensure there is a compelling strategic reason behind it, such as evolving market trends, a shift in your target audience, or a change in your company's vision or offerings. Rebranding without a clear purpose can confuse your audience and dilute your brand's message. always ask yourself, what are we hoping to achieve with this rebrand? And ensure the reasons align with your long-term business goals. Number 2, don't lose sight of your core values. While it's important to evolve and stay relevant, a rebrand should not mean abandoning what made your brand successful in the first place. Your core values are the foundation of your brand's identity and play a significant role in why your customers trust and choose you. A rebrand should be about refining and enhancing your brand, not completely transforming it into something unrecognizable. Straying too far away from your core values can alienate your loyal customers and create a disconnect between your brand's new direction and its original essence. Number 3, don't rush the process. A rebrand is a complex undertaking that affects every aspect of your business, from your visual identity and messaging to your customer experience and internal culture. Rushing through the process can lead to half baked ideas, poor execution, and a brand that fails to resonate with your audience. Take the time to plan meticulously, engage with stakeholders, conduct thorough research, and test your new brand elements before launching. A well thought out brand can rejuvenate your brand's image and market position, while a rushed rebrand can cause confusion, inconsistency, and ultimately a loss of credibility. Number 4, avoid isolating your team. A rebrand is a collective effort that requires input from different departments and stakeholders, from marketing and sales to product development and customer service. Involve your team early in the process to ensure that everyone understands the new direction and can contribute their unique perspectives. This not only helps in creating a more cohesive brand, but also ensures a smoother implementation as everyone will be aligned and prepared to embody the new brand in their roles. Number 5, don't overlook your customer's voice. Your customers are one of your most valuable assets, and when considering a rebrand, their perceptions, feedback, and experiences with your brand should play a crucial role in shaping the new direction. Conduct surveys, focus groups, and market research to understand what your customers love about your brand and what areas need improvement. Ignoring the customer perspective can lead to a rebrand that doesn't resonate with your audience or meet their needs. Number 6, don't neglect the rollout plan. The way you introduce your new brand to the world is just as important as the rebrand itself. A poorly executed rollout can create confusion, damage your reputation, and negate the benefits of a rebrand. Develop a comprehensive rollout plan that includes clear communication strategies for both internal and external audiences. Make sure your team is trained on the new brand guidelines and your customers are informed about the challenges and what they mean for them. A well executed rollout builds excitement, clarity, and trust in your new brand direction. In all, your brand is your business's personality, its heart, and its soul. And if it's not connecting, if it's not hidden, if it's not turning heads and sparking joy, it might be time for a change. A rebrand isn't about erasing your past. It's about setting yourself up for the long haul. It's about staying relevant, resonant, and attractive to your audience for years to come. So take a good, hard look at your brand. And if you're seeing any of these red flags, don't freak out because I got you. Instead, sign up for our Making the Brand Audit workshop, a gamified evaluation of your brand with actionable steps to improve your brand's connection with your audience. See it as your chance to level up, to serve your customers better, and to set your business up for the long run. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Office Hours on the Not So CEO Talk Show. If this episode lit a fire underneath you, let me know in the comments. And until next time, friends, bye. Thanks for tuning in to the Not So CEO Talk Show. If you love what you're hearing, hit that subscribe button and leave us a review. To stay in the loop, Stack our newsletter, The Paper, and follow us on social media at NotSoCEO. In case you need assistance with building your brand or you're a creative wanting to go from freelancer to founder, book an office hour session with me on our website at notsoceo.co. Until next time, remember, being self-made shouldn't compromise self-care. This is Not So CEO, signing off.